it away?
Absolutely. Yeah, I was just about to ask if you were going to record. So, yeah, nice to meet everyone. Thank you guys for taking time out of your weekday to listen to me. Yeah, as Leah said, my name is Mark Wilson. You guys will be hearing more from me, but a lot more from my team. So, before we dive in, go into a little brief background on what we're doing with you guys. We've been working with Crosstown for a few years now on a variety of things. A lot of standardized testing help, and you might know us from that. If you don't, that's okay. We have a pretty big team, and you guys will each be working with somebody on our team here once we kick up the fall semester here before we know it, okay? So I'm going to just go over a really quick presentation that introduces what we're going to be focusing on this fall. And then I want to open up the floor for Q&A. If anyone has any questions, I definitely want to make sure that you're able to ask them. But before we dive in, Ms. Keys, would you mind putting my email into the chat again? Because I want people to be comfortable reaching out to me at any time. So if you want to reach out to me today and ask a question directly, awesome. If you're somebody who can't make this meeting and you're watching this recording tomorrow or later on, and you see this email, it's just mark@brainsandbrawnllc.com. Reach out to me anytime. I'm there. I'm part of the plan. Crosstown has, I will be there anytime you guys want to meet. So if you meet with our next step coaches, awesome. If you have more questions or if you feel like you need more support, reach out to me directly. We'll hop on a call. We'll hop on a Zoom chat. We'll do whatever we can to make sure that you and your students feel ready to go. Okay. I'm gonna go ahead and start sharing my screen. Ms. Keys, if you don't care to field questions for me again, if you guys have questions, feel free to just take yourself off mute and ask. So some of you might know us from working on SAT or ACT classes. This will be a lot more in depth. And I'm gonna just minimize the little video window. So next step coach program, you're gonna hear that name a lot. That's what we're gonna be diving into, okay? So first off, what is a next step coach? Next step coaches are individuals who are going to be able to help you out with anything in the college admissions world. We're also going to be able to help you out with anything outside of that that you plan on doing after high school. So if you're not somebody who has plans for a four-year school, that's okay. Just still take time, chat with us. If you want to go straight into the workforce, if you want to go to trade school, if your dream is to go into the military, all that's fine. We can help you with any of that. We're going to be meeting with you guys regularly to make sure that we can accomplish whatever your goals look like. Okay, we're not picking your goals for you at all. And we work very closely with the advisory team at Crosstown. So we'll have one next step coach for every advisor. So your advisor group will often be giving you guys reminders about scheduling meetings and things like that. And that's what they're talking about. And we're here to help you guys. We're not able to do anything that you guys aren't able to do. So it's more of a joint effort than anything else. We need your participation. We need you guys to come to the meetings with questions, things like that, but you don't have to do any other work. Here's a little outline on what we're going to do. So basically, we're focusing on whatever you guys choose to pursue after you're done with high school. Okay. I know that seems like it's a long ways away, but if you are a rising junior right now, you could start your college applications as early as next spring. Okay. We want to make sure that you have enough information to make decisions that are right for you. We're not going to make your decisions for you. If you decide you want to go to Harvard or if you decide you don't want to go to college at all, we just want to make sure that you know what that looks like for you on the other end, okay? And we're going to also do everything we can to make sure that you have resources ready to make whatever those goals are happen, okay? Those are typically going to focus on three main things. Obviously, we worry a lot about your academics, just like Crosstown does, and we're going to worry about extracurriculars within the world of community involvement or within school. Standardized testing is a big part of it, but we also want to make sure we focus on a little bit of what we call professional development, as in just trying to make sure you guys understand what kind of opportunities are out there after high school. And we're always there. You guys can reach out to us with any questions that you have. But what we're going to have as a baseline structure for this, and I say baseline because you can have as many more meetings as you need, is 4 meetings a year, okay? So you're going to come into a meeting through Zoom with your next step coach twice a semester. Your first one, we're going to target early in the semester. So this is rough, but we want to start meeting with you guys as soon as you're free. Then as the calendar year is coming to a close, we want to have our second meeting. And then once the new year comes around in 2022, which I know seems like it's forever away, but it's not, we want to have our third meeting. And then right as your school year is wrapping up, we want to have our fourth meeting, okay? Each meeting is going to take about 30 minutes to a full hour. It's not going to take up all your time. You don't have to do homework. It's not like you have to come to us with a project or anything like that. It's more of a conversation. We want to ask that you do block off a full hour, because it is, it could go that long. Like, don't make sure that you don't schedule it with something right afterwards. And it's more of a conversation. I want to stress that it's not a big amount of homework or anything like that. We're going to do our scheduling for these meetings in the advisory meetings that you guys have. We'll come into one of our advisory meetings and ask each of you to find time in your schedule throughout the week that is free. Like if you have sports or a job or anything like that, we don't want to overlap. We want to make sure you guys have time to do what you need to do outside of school. But when you have a free minute, we'll schedule that, and then we'll put that on the calendar. We'll send out the Zoom link. Parents or guardians or anyone else involved in your decision-making process can attend the meeting too. If they're not able to, we can reschedule. If they're not able to meet with us at any time, we're going to recap the meeting and send out a recap document for you, your family, and for Crosstown's team, so that we can all look at it. And you don't have to prepare anything. I want to stress that it's not homework. You guys can come into these meetings just ready to talk. That's all we really want. Our goals, so depending on the time of the year, the goals are going to be a bit different. Obviously, we're not only going to talk about standardized tests, but we want to make sure that you guys know about what you have in terms of options, and you know how to choose the right one for you. The SAT and ACT can be used, either one of them can be used at any college. And we want to make sure you know the differences. We want to make sure you know how to prepare academically in terms of your extracurricular activities, and your volunteering opportunities. But this is much more of a conversation about what your goals are. We want you to realize those goals and be able to be aligned to pursue them before you're out of high school. We want to avoid the things that we see, like a 6.5-year undergrad degree, right? If you spend 6.5 years to get your 4-year degree, then your parents are spending a lot more money that they didn't have to spend. And oftentimes that comes from kids changing majors and not knowing what they want to do. Not knowing what you want to do is okay, but we want to help you try to figure that out, okay? If you're not sure about the cost of college, that's a big thing we're going to focus on. A lot of students don't understand how to afford college. We don't want you to just rely on student loans. We don't want you to be crossing schools off your list that you might surprisingly be able to afford. And this entire process is about making sure that you have enough information to make a decision. We don't want our students to ever make a decision out of having poor information. A kid crosses a school off of a list. I can't go here because it's too much money, but it turns out that they have need-based or need-blind financial aid. That can be literally a life-changing opportunity for you. And if you don't know about it, you're going to miss out. So come to these meetings, listen. We're going to send out notes. It can have a huge impact. And our biggest focus here is just spending time with you guys, okay? We're not going to give you guys a big laundry list of things. You're not going to have a big agenda, or itinerary after we're done to submit a bunch of homework. There's no project at the end of this. It's to help you guys maximize whatever you choose to do on the other end of high school. Ms. Keys worked very closely with us this year on our first year, where we worked with what is soon to be the senior year, the first one at Crosstown. And the students got a lot of help out of it. Students were able to understand how to pick the right standardized tests and how to get the right things knocked out while they're in high school to be on the right track for the things they wanted to do afterwards. We have kids who are going to go to 4-year schools, and that's awesome. We have kids who are going to choose 2-year institutions. We have some students that are going to go straight into the workforce. We have some students that are going to go into trade school. Some kids are going to go into acting or art or theater. That's all okay. We want to help each and every one of you. There are things you need to be doing regardless of what your goals are, and we just want to make sure that you have enough information to start preparing. So that's my spiel. I want to make sure that everyone has information to make good decisions. I also want to make sure people have the opportunity to ask me questions if you have them now.
Shania. Yeah, Shania.
Hi. One of the questions that I have is that you said it would be like a conversational type of meeting. So what questions or what will we really be talking about in that conversation, or what topics?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's a great question. So on our end, just so you can see a little bit behind the curtain, we like to get some of the things from from Crosstown that we can look at, things like your transcripts. And then we want to have a conversation with each student about what, if they have any plans yet for what they want to do after high school. So with you, it would probably start with just getting to know you a little bit, spend 5 or 10 minutes introducing our team. Whoever your next step coach is will ask you if you've thought about what you want to do after high school. Typically, students who are rising juniors have a few thoughts, but nothing solidified yet. So we would start making sure that if you have a few thoughts, you know, if, for instance, let's say you said, I want to go to University of Memphis, we would ask, have you thought about SAT or ACT, and have you ever taken anything there? Do you know which one's best for you? If you're looking at a school like University of Memphis, it will help you out to have volunteer hours. Have you worked with any volunteer organizations in Memphis? Do you do any extracurriculars, any sports, anything like that? And we're just going to have a conversation around giving you some suggestions about where we see, from a college consulting perspective, where we see potential areas to improve and where we see things that you might not know about. For instance, we have a lot of students in the Memphis area who have particular interests that they don't know they could do volunteering with. You know, I like working with people. Well, have you ever heard of St. Jude? Obviously, everyone in Memphis has heard of St. Jude. Did you know you can volunteer there? It's very easy to get involved. That's a great way to get volunteer hours. It's not that hard to get involved with St. Jude, but a lot of people don't, right? So our conversation would come around what you want to do, and then we would start to shape some suggestions and some help along that line, okay? We would also be looking at things like your transcript, and if you have certain goals, we might tell you about, like, if you have a particular college you want to go to, we might tell you about 5 or 6 more that are similar to that you might not have heard of. So you could start looking at a bigger profile, because we would never tell you to apply to just one college. We're going to want you to apply to enough so that you have a really good chance of having, you know, a few options. And all of that will be something we'll focus on. As you get later on in your junior year, we're going to start talking about the actual application process and paying for college, how to actually start looking at colleges that are good fits for what you want to study. If you're not planning on going to college, let's say that you're interested in the military, we're going to be talking about the ASVAB and some other tests that you would need for that, how to make sure that you're ready for that. If you're concerned about paying for college, we'll tell you about things like ROTC, all the different ways of finding need-based and need-blind financial aid. So there's 1,000 things we could be talking about, but it all comes down to what you uniquely need and what your interests are and what your goals are. Does that answer your question?
Yes, and thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for the question. Anyone else? See another hand raised. You want to ask?
Hi, it's Shaquana.
Shaquana? Okay. Thank you
Hi,
for
Mark.
that.
You're welcome.
I
saw the hesitation. It's okay.
I was like,
No,
there's a lot of confidence there.
Yeah, no worries. I have a question. I know you stated that the kids do not have to come to the meeting with any, set schedule or anything, but do you all offer any types of tools where they can keep track of the conversations that you're having, such as the volunteer hours, the colleges that they're tracking to? Is there an app or something, or maybe a website they can go to and download spreadsheets?
Yeah,
or
absolutely.
like that?
I'm about to make Miss Keys very happy. So we'll be talking a little bit about Naviance. We're going to be talking about how to turn that into something that we just found out will carry the students all the way through the research phase, all the way through when they do start applying to college. So with our first class that's about to start applying to college, Common App opened 2 days ago. You can partner that up with Naviance, and it can actually send out some requests for letters of recommendation, things like that. For things that aren't covered in Naviance, like actually tracking your volunteer hours, we do recommend a few different things. There are free apps out there. For the actual meetings themselves, we recap them in our meeting recap documents, which we keep uploaded. We share them with Crosstown, and we also share them with the family and the student. So you all will have documentation on what we discussed. We don't request any homework or projects or things like that, but it is always great to have conversations that build on one another. So with a student, we would say, hey, we met back in September. It's now November. We had mentioned 10 other schools. Did you have a chance to look at those schools, and what did you think about them? And we'll try to build and compound on things. So there are some things that are going to kind of work in a stepwise motion. But in terms of tracking colleges, we're going to use Naviance for that. That'll be very beneficial for the next 2 years, even through the college application process. Volunteer hours, there are some free apps that if students have a phone, that's very easy to do. And the actual meetings themselves, we recap them. We'll send you out a copy of that. And if you ever need it, if you ask us, or you can, we have them saved on a file, a drive that Crosstown and our entire team has access to.
Okay, thank you so much.
Absolutely.
Do you mind typing Naviance in the chat just to make sure I have the correct spelling? Yeah, thank you.
Hi, yes, question. This is Jennifer Isom.
Yes.
I had a question about what other schools have you all worked with? And then what are some of the success rates as far as acceptance in the college and scholarships, and just, I guess, some data a little bit around your program?
Yeah, so I don't have like a set success rate because that's a little difficult to quantify. I can tell you so we've been doing individualized college consulting for several years now, and I can send over some instances of students getting in. I can send over some school reports and things like that afterwards if you'd like. In terms of schools where we fully outsource their college consulting, Crosstown is the only school where we have this exact program. We do have other schools where we come in and we provide standardized testing, full suite of services there. Most of our partnerships are very customized to the school. So for instance, there's a Next Charter School in Derry, New Hampshire, which is a little closer to me geographically. That's a school very similar to Crosstown, but they are more focused on trade schools. And for that, like we don't send, they have about 5% of their school students going on to 4-year schools because most of their kids are coming in with IEPs. It's a very different scenario. But with our instances, I can send you over individual cases of students and their acceptance rates. We have a 100%, so far we have a 100% acceptance rate on students with their college list, meaning that when students come to us, we, on an individual basis, request that they apply to 8 to 12 schools. And every student we've ever worked with has gotten into at least 2 of those schools. It's a little different when you're quantifying a kid who might be applying to, like top 5 percentile of schools, Harvard, Yale, Princeton, versus schools that have generally higher acceptance rates. So quantifying that with one particular number is a little difficult. If you'd like, I can definitely send over plenty of different data points though. Would that help you?
Yes, that would be great. Thank you.
And can you dive a little bit more into the type of support that you give for, or you send for SAT, ACT?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Practice.
Yeah. So our team throughout the summer, we just started today our last summer class at Crosstown. What we do with the group through the Next Step Coach program is more of explaining the differences in these tests and helping students make informed decisions about which test is better for them, because the tests are fairly different, but in their utility, they're the same. You can use either the SAT or the ACT for every college or university in America. So we want students to be able to pick the one that's best for their learning style. For instance, kids who are very quick at solving problems are typically better at the ACT. There is no science component to the SAT, but there's a no calculator portion. So we'll cover all of those details and make sure the students understand that. We also do give free diagnostic tests for kids who are still not sure which one would be best for them. They can take a practice test at home or wherever they choose, and then we will score it and provide them with our recommendation on which test is going to be best based off of how they tested on that particular test. Does that answer your question?
Yes. And can you also provide just some resources where they can possibly do study tests for SAT, ACT, or maybe the school will help out with that?
Yeah, we do send over quite a few things in terms of passive resources. So things where they can go study on their own, links to different things. For instance, if we met with a particular student and they weren't sure which test was best for them, they can take a free diagnostic test. If we score that test and we explain to them that within math, the thing that's holding them back is geometry, we'll send over a suite of Khan Academy resources, for instance, that they can go through and study based off of what they're weak at in particular. We also, in our meeting recap documents, at the end of those documents, we have a little resource center where we'll link up things specific to that student. So with our rising seniors, it'll be more focused about things around the college application process. If it's a student who is in the process of applying, or I'm sorry, taking their test, it would be study resources, links to some things like specific to their unique profile that they need to improve, and also potentially some study books that they can get for low cost, things like the official guide of the ACT or Khan Academy resources that they can watch.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions?
My questions were already answered, but I just wanted to say thank you for to Leah, to everybody at Crosstown for providing this resource. I just got another kid through the college application process and left today for college, and it was a giant, mysterious cloud that we had to navigate through. So everything that you are offering would have been helpful the first go around, but I'm excited that my son will have access to this. So thank you both for that.
Absolutely. We'll do anything we can to help out. Anyone else have any questions? Well, Lee, I'll hand you the mic back, but if anyone does have questions, you guys can reach me through my email, and within my email signature, there's a link to my calendar. You guys can schedule a meeting with me anytime you'd like. You will be meeting directly with the team. Just with schedules, it was difficult to get everyone on my team here today, so I felt like it was better to just reduce the noise a bit. But when you start seeing those emails, if you ever have any questions and you want to chat with me, just let them know. They can find a time. Ms. Keys can find a time. Ms. Keys directs some questions to me throughout the school year. More than happy to help with anything at all. I want to do everything I can do to alleviate any confusion about this process. And it's a 2-year-long process, so we've got plenty of time, but we want to make sure we're helping you guys out right now.
Yeah, Mark is not kidding when he says that he is available and that you can email him when you have questions. He's truly not joking. This guy is here for you, to help you and to help your students to and really truly to make this whole process easier to digest, because it's a lot, and there are lots of questions, like Julie was saying, you know, there are parts of this that can feel mysterious, and Mark is, yeah, he's your guy. So so he's not joking about reaching out, and so please feel free to do that, and also, you know, of course, to reach out to me as well. Well, thank you, Mark, and thank you everyone for your presence tonight and your questions, and we really look forward to seeing your children on Monday morning. Oh my goodness, it's been a long time, and these teachers we're ready. We're so thrilled to see everyone, and we can't wait for Monday morning. I absolutely thank you all again, and I'll let you go because I know that this is a busy night, but I hope that y'all have a great night. And Shaquana, I see your message. I got you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Leah.
Bye-bye. Thanks.
Bye.